Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hi, Pastor Brian.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah,
How are you?
doing okay. We got a lot in the hopper in terms of church, but also in the world. We saw another tragic shooting yesterday
It
in
just kind of weighs on
Minneapolis.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, and I shared a prayer from the ELCA yesterday on Facebook with that, not to the church page, but to my page, and it's just tragic, and just want to take a couple of minutes and say a couple of things. First of all, I abhor, hate, despise black and white thinking. I hate it. Black and white thinking is why we're in a place like this right now. And it is done on purpose to polarize people. And that is why you say, hey, maybe there should be a revisiting of sensible, middle of the road issues related to guns. And the world will paint it as, you want to take my guns, black, you want to take everything away, or white, everybody gets everything they
with
want.
the black and white thinking, we turn it into, well, it's so clear that they're the enemy and we just have to demonize that other person.
Right.
And just like, and that perspective. And it's just, no, there can be a middle of the road.
Yeah. And so black and white thinking is why we are at the way we're at in this moment, and to be reasonable is to not take one extreme or the other and say, okay, within that, what can we work with to make sure that people who shouldn't have weapons because they're a danger to themselves and to other people, and the rest of the law-abiding world that do not have challenges that could turn into violence, safe, responsible gun ownership. And that's what you call a middle of the road approach, politically speaking, and politicians on purpose have turned it into a black and white issue. Either it's they want to take everything away, or the answer to violence is more guns, right? Like more, right? And neither of those are tenable answers, and neither of those are reasonable answers in the world. I'm not talking from a biblical point of view. I'm talking from a worldly point of view. It's not a tenable or reasonable approach either way, and no one wants to jump into the gray and say, hey, there's middle ground, because it's more politically expedient to be extreme on both sides.
Yeah.
And so, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, because I fully agree with this. When we decided as a government not to do anything after Sandy Hook in Massachusetts, it was clear that the political climate is, it's okay that kids get killed. That there's just no other way to say it. That was a moment to say, this can never happen again.
It's terrible.
And we blinked.
It's awful to think about.
Politically speaking, that was the time. And now it's become too commonplace. So our hearts break for those folks in Minneapolis, and for all those who are mourning and grieving because of gun violence, and because there is no political will to do something reasonable and middle of the road, not black and white. There are good people who exercise their Second Amendment rights, and they do so safely and well, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there are people who choose not to, and that's okay too. But we have a problem because it keeps happening.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we need to take the issue seriously.
Yeah.
And look at,
Right.
what are the real options that we can do?
Yeah.
Because we can do things.
Yeah. And as some of you probably know, like, the gun lobby is so strong that years ago they got it written into the law that the government cannot study gun violence. You knew that, right?
Yeah.
That because of the lobby, because they don't want the truth,
which is,
however, whatever that is, I don't even know, but like they don't even want people talking about it. So they lobbied lawmakers to write into the law that the government can't even study gun violence.
Yeah.
I mean that tells you something. It's money, it's power, it's all those things. So we are in a broken state of affairs, and it's frustrating to me because I'm not looking at and approaching this as a black and white issue. Like from a practical standpoint, what's the middle ground to make people and help people be safer?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we have folks, like I said, even in church, you know, folks who safely own guns and folks who don't. And that's the approach is great. Let's go in the middle. Let's figure this out, right?
Yep.
Of course, I'm one voice, and I don't have any influence on that. So
well, the more people speak up like
Yep.
that, the more power there is.
Yep.
So
Yep. So our hearts go out to those families.
such an awful thing.
An awful
It's-
thing, injured and killed, and just a horrible thing. And I'm really tired of politicians saying now's not the time to talk about this. It's never a time to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, oh, we should just be praying right now. Well, yeah, we should be praying, but we also should be acting.
Mm-hmm.
How do we think about sensible things to change so that this is minimized? I'm not saying you eliminate, but how do we minimize this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, once again, this isn't coming from either a liberal point of view or a conservative point of view. It's coming from what's a practical, not extreme understanding to say, how do we move forward? You know?
Yeah.
And so, I'm very frustrated that this type of thing, not just school, let alone a church school, this kind of stuff continues to happen. And
No, I mean, parents take their kids to a place like that because they want their kids to be safe
That's right.
and find a good place. And
that's right. And it was
sad.
just a little bit ago. It blends together. Happened at a school in Tennessee, not long ago. I don't know if that was a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And you keep counting back the different places where things have happened.
Yeah.
Texas, Uvalde, Texas. Come on, folks. There are things we can do, and that are sensible and don't affect most of the population in the United States. You know, it's not that hard. So, anyways, I'm done ranting.
yeah,
you just need to know
it's weighing on the world right now.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will pray for comfort and peace, but we're also going to pray for change. Some folks who really need to see that they need to change their minds about things so that something that is more safe can happen. Once again, I just want to be clear, I'm not here, I'm not here. Somewhere in the middle that just is common sense, right?
Yeah.
Some people be like, oh, you're this or that. Like, no, I'm just thinking practically.
I know. Well, and in a minimum, just being able to do the research.
Yeah.
To something that kills so many kids every year.
Oh, as you mean the number one cause of early death in children?
Probably something we should study.
The number one thing.
Yeah.
You'd think, oh, maybe it's cancer, maybe it's this. Nope, it's gun violence. So it's just something we need to press folks who represent us to say, let's have some common sense conversations here about things, right? So so that that's weighing. I mean, as I said, we'll be praying about that on Sunday too, and
Yes, we will.
thinking about what is asking God to intercede, but that does not let us off the hook to advocate to the people that we elect to do something too. So, not sure what it's going to take, but we will continue to press on. So, so there's that. Changing subjects completely. it's nice to have a break in the weather.
It is, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
nice to walk outside, especially in the mornings.
Yeah.
To walk outside and just feel,
I thought I was in the Midwest this morning. I walk outside, it was reasonable, and it was cloudy.
how about that?
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Where am I living, right?
That is, yeah. We're probably not done with the heat. I like to think it's all fall weather from here on out, but it might not be the case.
Second summer is coming. We got second summer. It is coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and on the personal front, really excited right before this. Got a phone call. Culligan water softener between 12:30 and 2:30 tomorrow.
Okay.
So
soft water is coming
Soft
as well.
water and filtered drinking water
There you go.
is coming to the Bergeron household.
Okay.
So we're very excited by that.
That is exciting.
Yeah, bought some area rugs yesterday.
Okay.
There's a Labor Day sale, and a lot of things go on sale for Labor Day. So I was online hunting and found some rugs on sale.
Yeah, you mentioned you had a lot of space that needed.
Yeah, we got engineered whatever floors, and they're not hardwood, but like vinyl plank, whatever.
Yep.
And so the whole house is that, so which is good. It's uniform, but we need some area rugs. So found area rugs like 4x8, so that's a good size, or 5x8.
Yeah.
For $50 a piece. That's a big rug for $50.
That is a big rug.
Even if they last a year, that's a good price.
That's a good price. There you go.
So I've never ordered from these people before, but I rolled the dice.
We'll see what we get, huh?
Hopefully I didn't misread, and it was $50 for a 5 inches by 8 inches rug. If that's the case, then shame on me for not doing better research, right? Yeah, when I get a rug this big, that's what you get for $50.
Well, we'll see.
We'll find out.
See.
But they were on clearance by a lot, and I'm like, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and do it. So
There you go.
bought some area rugs to dress up the place. So
All right, Labor Day sales.
yep, and then you're around tomorrow and leave Saturday, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Getting ready and I think lining everything up, getting it all set, and then away we go. We head off to Utah.
Utah.
Yeah.
What is the town that's closest to Lutherwood in the mountains?
So the nearest one that people are familiar with is Duck Creek Village.
Okay, Duck Creek Village. And
Yeah. Then there's Alton, Utah, but that's a gas station.
Got it.
Yes, Duck Creek is.
And how close is Duck Creek? It's crazy. For all the years that I've lived in the area, cumulatively, I've never been to. I've been to Lutherwood. I've never been to Duck Creek.
Maybe 20 miles.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
and what? You're 30 from Cedar City?
Oh, you're a little further than that. So
okay.
I mean, and Duck Creek goes. There's a little mountain range. So if Lutherwood's at like 6,400 feet, Duck Creek is 8,400 feet.
Got it.
So you do got to wind up a little. It takes a while to get up to Duck Creek. It might not be 20 miles. You do have to wind around a little bit.
But it'll take more than 20 minutes.
And then to wind all the way through to the other side.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
When you think you get to Cedar City and you think you're getting close, I mean.
In theory.
In theory, you're close, but it takes a while.
Where you get off the highway, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to go to Duck Creek from Lutherwood, you got to bring oxygen tanks. Just to supplement the breathing. I mean, it's all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, right. You think I'm living mountain life. You're at 1,900 feet here in the valley, but
this is the life.
Yeah.
So that's Lutherwood, and Duck Creek's a neat little place.
Yeah.
Up there.
Someday I'll get there. Mm-hmm. But until then, Saturday begins your Expedition Everest adventure.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Watch out for the Yeti while you are gone.
All right. Well, we probably won't run into too many Yetis.
Yeah. Yeah. There's less sightings of Mormon Yetis than there are, or Sasquatch than there are, in other parts of the country. So I'm just saying, don't completely turn your back on Mother Nature. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Keep one eye open.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Very good.
Just be safe.
All right.
There's panthers, but then there's, Bigfoot. So.
Okay. All the things.
Or do they call them mountain lions out here?
I would call them more mountain lions,
Yeah.
but
But they're all the same.
They're all
Some
the
people call them
same.
panthers. Some people call them
They're
mountain
all the
lions.
same.
Pumas. They're all the same thing.
yes, catamount.
Oh, that's a new one
Yeah,
for me.
look at that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I got to look that one up. When I go to northern Wisconsin, all I have to worry about is the mythical hodag creature in northern Wisconsin. But
The hodag.
yeah, the hodag.
Yes.
But other than that,
Yes.
yeah. Did I ever tell you the story that one of my friends in high school, when he was a little kid, we lived in Southern Illinois, and I'm still friends with him, that he swore as a little kid down by in the local river was called the Big Muddy River.
Yeah. It's a great name for a river.
Probably a very practical name why I got that name. And Southern Illinois is like the Deep South, to be very honest.
Okay.
And
yeah.
and so my friend swore he saw a Bigfoot type creature. And then years later, other folks have had sightings.
Right in that area.
And
huh?
right in that area near Murfreesboro.
By the Big
Illinois.
Muddy.
Yeah, Big Muddy River. And so he's known as the Big Muddy Monster.
Oh.
Yeah. But he isn't the only one who's, reported to see it. But he was,
Yeah.
A witness. He was only like 3, so,
But he saw what he saw.
yeah, he saw what he saw. And once in a great while, he gets asked to speak. He's an attorney now. He gets asked to speak on the Big Muddy Monster.
Oh,
he
really?
He has not dedicated his life to this. That is not his. But every so often.
But he's still
yeah, he
still
carries
into
on
it.
the lore.
carries on the lore,
Yeah.
huh? Wow.
Go figure.
Yes. I have.
So if we ever want a speaker on that here in Las Vegas, I have a line on somebody.
Oh, why don't you go ahead and
Book him.
book him? Yes. You know what the people want.
Yes, more Big Muddy Monster in Las Vegas. That's
Yeah.
right. Boy, that would be something, wouldn't it?
That would be something.
You and me and this guy sitting in the fellowship hall by ourselves while he gives a talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if we served cookies, it'd still be the 3 of us. So, Christian, if you're watching, I apologize for bringing your name up today. So,
The Big Muddy Monster.
I think I'm safe. I don't think he's watching. So.
You never know.
You never know. That's right. Anyway, so this past week we were finishing off our KCLC radio sermon series, and the last song was a hit from 1987, and it had a lot of biblical themes in there. And so, let's take a listen, and we'll talk about it when we come back.
Like a warrior that fights and wins the battles, I know the taste of victory. Though I went through some nights consumed by the shadows, I was crippled emotionally.
Ooh, somehow I made it through the heartache. Yes, I did. I escaped. I found my way out of the darkness. Kept my faith.
I know you did.
Kept my faith. When the river was deep, I didn't falter. When the mountain was high, I still believe. When the valley was low, it didn't stop me. No, no, I knew you were waiting. I knew you were waiting for me.
With an endless desire, I kept on searching. Sure, in time our eyes would meet. Like a bridge that's on fire, the hurt is over. One touch and you will set me free.
No, I don't regret a single moment. No, I don't.
I know you don't.
Looking back, when I think of all those disappointments, I just laugh.
I know you do.
I just laugh. When the river was deep, I didn't falter. When the mountain was high, I still believe. When the valley was low, it didn't stop me. No, no, I knew you were waiting. I knew you were waiting for me.
destiny. Oh, yeah. I know this love we share was meant to be. Oh, I knew you were waiting. Knew you were waiting.
I
Knew you were waiting for me.
I didn't falter.
I didn't falter, no.
I still believe when the valley was low. Didn't stop me.
Didn't stop me. I knew you were waiting. I knew you were waiting for me.
I didn't falter when the mountain was high.
Oh, the valley was low.
It didn't stop
It
me.
didn't stop me. I knew you were waiting. I knew you were waiting for me.
Wasn't
about
that great?
that?
Yeah, just
How about
great.
that?
And we give thanks for Tim, Circe, Dana Martin, and as well as Philip for playing and accompanying them.
Yes.
And then the other backup, Brett and Dave Madelon was in playing bass this weekend, and so we just appreciate.
A good group and a great song. One I had forgotten about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of took even when you brought it up, it took
Like,
it took
what's that
hearing
song?
it.
What's that
It
song?
took hearing it for me to start to recognize. Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm more versed in music before 1995 than I am post 1995. To be very honest, so my like for pop music kind of ended in adulthood. So I kind of
There it went, right there.
I knew my goose was cooked back in 2002. So I'm here, and one of our members was the general manager for a radio station in town. Kind of like WKRP in Cincinnati, and there was a general manager, and then there were the DJ. Well, this guy was the general manager, and he was the general manager of an all 80s radio format radio station here in town. And I knew my goose was cooked when, on the commercials on the radio station promoting the station, they called it an oldies station.
Yes.
And that was
yes.
23 years ago.
Yes.
And it was an oldies station then.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Yep, that
what?
80 made it to the oldies.
And
Yeah.
to quote Molly, our daughter, what the noodles. That's her phrase. What the noodles.
What the noodles?
That was even in my 30s I was listening to an oldies station, right? Like
Listening
holy
to the
moly.
oldies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nice family. Their daughter was in confirmation with me way back in the day, and I'm sure he moved on to other radio stations to manage somewhere in the world. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that one, what'd you say, 87?
87. Yeah. The year I went to Augustana College in Rock Island.
Yes.
Freshman year, and all the things.
All the things
Yeah.
that you do in 1987.
That's right. Most of it was listen to the radio and go to college classes, So,
Takes care of a lot.
yeah, that was
doesn't it?
pretty much all of it. Other than that, very little excitement. But you heard there was a number of things going on in the world, including that, didn't want to say it on a Sunday, in front of, in church, but man, that goofy Oral Roberts, telling people he needed $8 million or God would.
So I had not heard that story.
So he goes up into this prayer
yeah.
tower at ORU.
I remember hearing, I didn't hear he did it on the, saying that he's
said
threatening
on
his own
TV.
death
Yeah.
at the same time.
And
I
so
didn't hear that part of
So
the
he's
story.
got this personal prayer tower at Oral Roberts
Wow.
University.
Yes.
And he went up there and held vigil. If God's going to take me, it'll be at the top of my prayer tower. Somehow making God's trip to earth a little bit shorter because he's way up high.
Right.
Right.
It's like the flaming chariot wouldn't
Yeah,
have
right.
to
Touch
go
down,
get
right.
to where the rest of us are.
just swoop.
God could just kind of go where
Yeah.
just he is
Yeah,
in
right.
this holy prayer
Swing
tower.
low, sweet
Yeah.
chariot, coming to take me home.
Yeah.
But not to be mean, but it might have been okay if God took him home.
Wow.
When you what?
There you go.
here's my reasoning. I'll give you my reasoning on this. One, it's coercive giving tactics. Give $8 million.
I know,
Or
yeah. Oh,
God
I mean,
will
he
strike me
just-
dead. And the man lived with a lot of hate in his heart towards people.
And if that's how you're gonna, if that's the way, that's choices you're gonna make. I mean, that's.
You know, I'm just
He's
saying.
literally asking for it. So
Yeah, right.
I guess so.
Yeah, but I guess the 8 million big ones came in. So, anyways, like once again,
Yeah.
we can talk about stuff on broadcast we wouldn't necessarily say on Sunday morning.
But it is. Well, it is. It's one of those things that is. You just see people manipulating others,
Yeah,
and it doesn't leave you with a good taste in your mouth.
And that's why I say that. I'm
because
like,
I mean, there were good people who gave probably their life savings to that guy, so that he could build whatever it is he was going to do with that 8 million.
And I knew one family who basically did that for Jimmy Baker
Oh.
and lost most of their retirement savings to help him build Heritage USA.
Oh, you know,
So
people were doing that.
And these were good, hardworking
for-
Christians.
yeah.
So that's why I say that, because I do not approve of manipulating people out of money at all. You know, it's just, if the church has a need, I will tell you, and I will ask, but I will not be going onto the roof of the church waiting for that money to come in, right?
Yes.
As much
yes.
as-
You kind of wonder what he had in that tower too. You know.
I'm sure he
you
had
know,
a
just-
mini fridge.
Yeah,
I'm sure he
right.
had a mini
Like
fridge.
was he really like a?
He had M&Ms and Coke and all sorts of stuff up there. He was well supplied
Yeah.
in his prayer tower.
Right. And
You know.
if he needed to, do you think he ever slipped down the elevator and?
No, he had people for that.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
sending him out for a Whataburger, you know, and then coming back up in a milkshake. You know, I'm pretty sure. So. 1987, folks, it was a rockin' time, right?
Rockin' time.
And I love the story of Matthias West, who flew his single-engine prop plane through Soviet air defenses from Berlin or from Germany and landed in Red Square.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that in any time, but I'd rather do it in Gorbachev's Russia than Putin's.
I think that's probably a safer bet.
I don't know that he would be released quite yet.
No.
If
And I'm not
Putin had been
sure-
ruling at the time.
Even in '87, Matthias Rust, or whatever his name was, actually thought through that plan. He should have flown to the prayer tower at ORU. That's what he should have
Could have
done.
flown to the prayer
Yeah,
tower.
he should have flown to the prayer tower. Sorry,
Problem
folks.
solved.
This is getting out of hand. We need that video, right?
Yeah, where's the Bible
Where's
at?
the Bible at? So, anyways, number one hit, as we told you, a songwriting duo writing pop music had written several songs before, Morgan and Clemmy. They pitched it to Tina Turner. She went. Was not supposed to be a duet. They said, let's make it a duet. Asked the Queen of Soul. Aretha said yes.
She said yes.
And,
so okay.
but one of the other stories to this was that I didn't have time to tell is that by 1987, George Michael was already a huge pop star. Because, you know, he began with a group called Wham, him and Andrew Ridgeley, back in like 84, 85. And he kept having hit after hit after hit. So there was a point that George Michael was approached to write a song for Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
And George Michael was like, I how dare I even presume to write a song for the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. So, and he had reached out to other people like Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder about like, how do I even write a song for somebody like Aretha Franklin? So he never did. That song was written by other people, but George Michael actually had been approached to write a song for Aretha Franklin, and he just said, I don't have what it takes to write music for someone of that stature, right? So that's kind of an interesting other backstory. So they record it, released radio, pop, number one hit, but you hear these, you know, when the river was deep, I didn't falter. You know, when the mountain was high, I still believed. When the valley was low, it didn't stop me. I knew you were waiting for me. ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough to keep me away from you. I mean, you hear the same theme in R&B kind of Motown sound songs that have come out before, and
Yeah.
and so you keep playing on that theme, and I can't help but think about some of that, and I want to revisit at least the one story, part of that story of Simeon. But I'm sure somebody has written a doctoral dissertation on this. But when you think about Luke, the Gospel of Luke, telling the story of the kind of the coming of Jesus, the birth of Jesus, the forerunner of Jesus, John the Baptist, what do you have? But you have Mary's song.
Yeah.
You have Zechariah's song, who
Yeah,
is
you
the
do.
father of John the Baptist. And then you have Simeon's song.
It's really interesting, isn't it?
Three songs. I mean, you could say they're narrative or proclamation, but they're phrased. All three of those are phrased, scripturally speaking, like a song.
Yeah.
And so, in the first two chapters of Luke, what do you have but three? In air quotes, three songs that pop up.
Yeah,
And I just find that fascinating. I haven't done any research on it, but it doesn't happen in Matthew, Mark, or John. So,
But it is something that is it is. I think it is a very important piece, and especially the Magnificat has that left
Mary's
such
song,
an
yeah.
impact there.
that's right.
But yeah, Zechariah and Simeon also have a song.
songs, and one is about the coming of John the Baptist, and one is about the birth of Jesus and his work, and then Simeon's song is kind of almost reinforcing what Mary sang earlier prior to Jesus' birth. So we kind of have the John the Baptist, Zechariah, his dad's song in the middle, but we sandwich it with songs about Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's all in two chapters, right? I mean, it's not like beginning, middle, and end. It's right. It's all front loaded. So the story goes like this: Mary and Joseph are, according to the Luke story, in Bethlehem, not far from Jerusalem. Jesus is born. On the 8th day, Jesus is circumcised according to the law of Moses, then brought to the temple to be dedicated, because every firstborn male of a household, if one is an observant Jew of that time, would come to the temple and dedicate that child to the Lord, the firstborn male child, and offer a sacrifice. And so clearly Mary and Joseph are faithful. They come and offer that it's ceremonial, but it also has a heart component to it. They get to the temple, and this old dude, Simeon, kind of out of nowhere, gently but forcefully grabs baby Jesus.
Yeah, it's kind
Right?
of it's a story of, this is somebody who he apparently could see something. I mean, even though Mary and Joseph had, they had their own encounters with the angel, with the Lord. They had their own encounters. They were a part of this journey already, but Simeon could see something that, even though they'd had those encounters, he could see something that even they couldn't in that
right.
particular moment. So.
And all spirit-led, because the backstory was he was told as a faithful person that he would not die until he saw God's salvation for Israel.
Yeah.
So he gets confirmation by the Spirit, and it wasn't like Harry Potter with the lightning bolt on his forehead, right? Like,
Right.
there's the chosen
Right.
one, right? It wasn't like that. It was like the Spirit said, that's it. So in the temple, he kind of takes the baby away from either Mary or Joseph, and Simeon took him, Jesus, in his arms, and praised God, saying, "Sovereign Lord, as you have promised, now dismiss your servant in peace, for my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the sight of all people, a light for revelation to the Gentiles and for glory to your people Israel." So what you have is this song that really points out a couple things. One is he says, "I'm happy to die now. Like, dismiss your servant in peace. I've done the thing that you said would happen. I've experienced it. I'm good to go. I mean,
Yeah.
not being morbid or even flip. He's just like, I'm good now, right?
Yeah.
So he's ready to go. And then he says, what I've seen is not only you eventually going to save people, Israel, he said, but it's not just for Israel. It's for the Gentiles.
And that is such a Luke makes that move very early on.
Very early.
Where
And he was
it's-
not Jewish. Luke was not Jewish.
Right. But he is saying that this is something this is for all people.
For all people. Now, we might look at that dichotomy of Jew and Gentile as kind of like you're the Jewish, you're not, right? But still, the prevailing thought of that day was, if you're Jewish, you're within God's grace, within God's salvation, and if you are Gentile and not born into the family of faith of Israel or being Jewish, salvation is beyond you. God only provides for Israel. Very much a tribal understanding of God, even if it was kind of semi, because at that point they're like, well, there's one God who created the world, yet the only people God really cares for are those who were born within the family of Israel. Not necessarily geographically speaking, but like if you're ethnically and religiously Jewish, well then God's grace is for you. Everybody else, sorry, luck of the draw, you're beyond God's grace.
Yeah.
So for Simeon, and of course we want to incorporate Luke sharing this, right? What he's saying is no. God's grace extends beyond the family of Israel, the people of Israel, but into the world, that God is doing something so new and so big that it will incorporate people who don't even believe in God or are even capable of believing in God, because that was their understanding.
Right.
And at this point, Luke, who's writing this, is like, it is capable because I'm a Christian and I'm not Jewish. And I was able to come to faith and I believe in Jesus. And so he's also, by sharing this story, saying it actually has happened already, because Luke, is writing this. And it's revolutionary to have an understanding within Israel that God's love extends beyond the people of Israel from 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a big deal. And it reminds me of that line in the song I pointed out in the sermon, with an endless desire. This is like Simeon. An endless desire, I kept on searching, sure in time our eyes would meet. And in the temple courts, their eyes met.
That's a great
And then
comparison there.
a little bit later in that second stanza of that song, in that same section, one touch and you set me free. Like, how cool is that, right?
Yep.
But I also thought, when you think about this whole, when the river was deep, I didn't falter. When the mountain was high, I still believed. When the valley was low, it didn't stop me. I knew you were waiting for me. We have that imagery come up a couple of times. One is a little bit later in Luke. So chapter 3, Jesus is now grown up. Chapter 2, he's a kid, he's a baby. Then he's a kid. And chapter 3, he's an adult.
You keep moving.
Keep moving. And this is the beginning of John the Baptist, the beginning of kind of Jesus' adult ministry. And this whole theme comes up again as Luke quotes Isaiah.
All right, so from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 3, in verse 2. The word of God came to John, son of Zechariah, in the desert. He went into the country around the Jordan, preaching a baptism of repentance for the forgiveness of sins, as it is written in the book of the words of Isaiah the prophet. A voice of one calling in the desert, prepare the way of the Lord, make straight paths for him. Every valley shall be filled in, every mountain and hill made low. The crooked roads shall become straight, the rough ways smooth, and all humankind will see God's salvation.
So we've talked about this on Sundays before, is in Isaiah, when this is what Luke is writing, he's saying, okay, God's going to show up like a king, and we know Jesus Christ, anointed one, is a king, anointed to be king, that to get ready for a king, you'd have a public works project. you know. So you want to make sure that when the king comes to town, he has the smoothest ride possible. Make straight paths for him. Fill in the valleys. You know, make low the mountains. Make the crooked roads straight. Every rough smooth. And then Isaiah adds, and mankind, humankind, will see God's salvation. So in a different way, it's saying, get ready for God to show up in your life. So not only does God want to show up in your life, but the discipleship part of our lives, the response to that is, well, we got to get ready for that too. God's not gonna show up. Like, he's not gonna say, well, if you don't do anything, I'm not showing. God's still gonna show up. But how do we respond to that? By being ready for him to show up, right?
Yeah.
And this is all spiritual speak. I mean, we're not talking about an actual public works program. We're talking about how do we make straight the paths in our hearts? How do we get rid of the bumpy parts of our lives to be ready for what God's going to do new in our lives? So we hear mountains, we hear valleys, we hear all these things, you know, in kind of God saying he's going to show up, this is what you got to do. This is all tied to John the Baptist, who is the one preparing the way for the beginning of Jesus' ministry. And you got all of that going on. But I think really the takeaway for us is, how do we prepare the way for God to enter our hearts?
Yeah.
Or how do we receive him more fully by getting rid of some of the junk and some of the twists and turns and the ups and downs of life? How do we separate ourselves from that emotionally so that we can more
That's a good
fully
perspective.
receive?
There are things we just need to separate, let go of, so that we can fully receive.
fully receive that. And, you know, and I'm going to tell you that by dwelling on the bad stuff, then you don't have room, or you have less room for God when you hang on to stuff. And so this is about letting go so that there is more room for God in your life. It's great imagery for us. And then we finish with Isaiah, but not that version of Isaiah. Isaiah 54, listen to this. Though the mountains be shaken and the hills removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken, nor my covenant of peace removed, says the Lord, who has compassion on you. So even as life feels like it's falling apart, you know, the mountains are shaking and hills be removed, it feels like everything's falling apart, God says, I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to be there for you. And certainly, you know, the events of the past 24 hours, 48 hours makes you think that the mountains are shaking and the hills are being removed. And then there may be things in your life. I certainly know I've had some things in my life that feels like things are shaking apart. And yet God says, even in the midst of the hardest things and the scariest things, you know, he's like, I'm still going to love you. And I'm still going to, listen to this, the covenant of peace will not be removed. He's like, I'm still going to be bringing peace to you if you're willing and able and open to receive it, right?
Yeah.
So we can let go some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So we just want you to have that peace that surpasses understanding, and sometimes letting go of the junk, even though it feels like the world's coming apart at the seams. God says, I'll be there with you.
Yep.
So with all of that being said, we do start a new sermon series this weekend, all on prayer. So we'd love for you to join us as we explore some of the prayers of the Bible over the next 5 weeks. And there are some great prayers in the Bible that we'd love to share with you because they're all tied to another prayer that's floating out there in Scripture too, and we're going to tie those things together. So
A lot of stuff going on.
a lot of
It's
stuff
good.
going on, but we'd love for you to be a part of that. If you're heading up to the mountains of Utah, well, you're in good hands with Pastor Brian and the Scouts.
We'll have a good time.
That's right. And if you're not, either join us online or in person this weekend, and we're going to delve into prayer for the next 5 weeks. So anyways, take care. God bless you. We love you, and have a great day. Philip, will you play us out?